F3 Cup is next.
Yep, thanks a lot, Alan. Unfortunately, one of the cars on the front row of the grid will not be taking part because as they went off on their green flag warming up lap, poor old Robbie Watts was going nowhere. He's out of the car. The car's at the end of the pit lane, so you might be able to find out exactly what the problem was. It sounded as though the engine was running, but just not engaging a gear. We've got the grid fully formed, so Darryl Jones, therefore, lines up on his own on the front row of the grid, and with the green flag already waved from the tail end of the field, we're about to get this 15-minute F3 Cup race underway. The lights go out and it's a good start from pole position for Darryl Jones. It's well away also for car number 13, Tony Bishop. Poor old Shane Kelly, who won all 3 races at Donington Park, is going backwards. It looks though he's got problems. He's now, I think, eventually got the right gear in his car, but poor old Shane Kelly has handed himself a chunk of work to do here. He hadn't done himself a great deal of favours, qualifying in 5th position this morning. He would have been disappointed with that. He's now got even more work to do.
But he did say to me that there wasn't a problem with the car. It was just that they went maybe slightly too conservative on the setup in the car in qualifying. So he was very confident that he could make up places early on in the race.
He needs to get on with it at the moment because he's tumbled right the way towards the very tail end of the field. He's down in what's something like 9th position at the moment. We'll make that 8th because he's just picked the pocket of Mark Harrison and gained the position. Darryl Jones comes over the start-finish line. He leads the race. Tony Bishop's there in 2nd position. Stuart Wiltshire's in 3rd place, and we're side by side for 4th and 5th. Mark Harrison fighting away with George Lyne, and it does look as though Mark Harrison was able to go through, and by the look of things, he's now coming under pressure again by the look of things. What about Shane Kelly? Where was he at the end of the first lap? Up to 8th at the end of the first lap of the race, so he's getting on with it now. The winner of all 3 races at Donington Park, that's the number 11 car. It's largely sort of light blue and white and has got some day-glow yellow flashes to it in the hands of the man from Wolverhampton. This car that's engineered by the students that are studying motorsport degrees at the University of Wolverhampton, and he's gained a further place there, squeezed one up the inside of Daniel Tapano, so it's another couple of places gained. He's going to be up to 6th by the end of this lap. Is Shane Kelly. Darryl Jones leads the race. Tony Bishop's there in 2nd position. George Lyne, number 10, is in 3rd place. And it's the blue car of Stuart Wiltshire that's there in 4th position. He's got the red car of Mark Harrison behind, and then closing in on them all, gaining another place, goes Shane Kelly. He's got through and past Stuart Wiltshire, who's lost 3 places, and he's going to lose another place here. I think there's problems for Stuart Wiltshire's car because he is slowed. He's lost 4 places at the beginning of this lap. They're only now just turning their way through Graham Hill Bend for the first time of asking, and all of this is really helping Shane Kelly's progress up through the field. He is now going to be in something like 4th position, possibly, by the time they come over the start-finish line. Through goes Darryl Jones. He leads. Number 13, Tony Bishop, 2nd, then number 10, George Lyne, and for 4th and 5th place, it's Mark Harrison going side by side with Shane Kelly. Kelly sweeps around the outside, gains the place at Paddock Hill Bend, so the number 11 car is now up into 4th position.
I had a chat to Stuart Wiltshire down in pit lane as well. He wasn't happy with the car, although he finished on the podium once at Donington Park. He wasn't happy with the car, and they found a little problem with the tub, and it was enough to have set the car out, and therefore that problem has been resolved. So that's clearly not going to be the problem. So hopefully everything's okay with the car that can be repaired for tomorrow, because that would be a more significant day. But certainly he's gone backwards, hasn't he? So in pit lane now is Stuart Wiltshire, and we always enjoy Stuart on the podium because he is a larger-than-life character, isn't he? He
is, yeah. He's a very likeable character, always has a tale to tell, and yeah, it's such a shame that his weekend's got off to a poor start, hasn't he? And as it has for Robbie Watts as well, you know, 2 very quick drivers in qualifying. We saw the car of Stuart Wiltshire qualify 4th quickest, Robbie Watts qualified 2nd quickest, but both of those cars already out of the race. Darryl Jones is about to come through and over the start-finish line. Won't be that much longer before he puts a lap on the car of Jeffrey Hoodless, who runs in the Masters class for cars that were built between the early part of January, the 1st of January 1981 and the end of 1986, and well, his car comes in at the very bottom end of that age range as well. It's almost the oldest car that we could have in this championship, isn't it? A 1981 car.
Yeah, that's yeah, I remember 1981. Goodness me, that must be very old indeed. And we've now got 5 laps completed. The 2nd place car has put in the fastest lap of the race, Tony Bishop, car number 13, with a 43.128. I just love Formula 3 cars. Just a quick 43.128 the lap time for Tony Bishop, the fastest lap of the race, and the race leader, number 73, Darryl Jones, has completed now 6 laps in the book. Across the line goes Bishop, and George Lyne completes the top 3. George Lyne is a very capable young driver, and we saw him on the podium once at Donington.
Yeah, we did,
and then unfortunately we didn't see him again, did we? But he promises a good deal for the future, and at the moment he's doing a good job holding on to 3rd place in car number 10. Shane Kelly up to 4th.
Yeah, Shane Kelly up to 4th, also new fastest lap of the race for the number 11 car, a 43.023 in his pursuit to try and catch up with George Lyne. It was the first race at Donington Park when he finished 2nd on the podium. He just missed out on the podium in the 2nd race, but then non-finished in the 3rd, so he'll be hoping for a good solid weekend here when it's all going the right way at the moment. Through goes Darryl Jones, number 73 still leads, number 13 Tony Bishop in 2nd, then number 10 George Lyne there in 3rd place. The gap between himself and Shane Kelly comes down by another 1/10 of a second. There's still 2.2 seconds between 3rd and 4th place, but as far as Shane Kelly is concerned, it's going the right way, isn't it, the gap? He's starting to close in. It's a 15-minute race. We have 9.5 minutes remaining at this stage, as already propelling himself down the Cooper Straight on his 8th lap of the races, Darryl Jones, who is looking good here. It's another driver we saw on the podium, but he had mixed fortunes also at Donington Park, was outside the top 6 in one race, finished 2nd in the other, non-finished in the 3rd. He leads at Brands.
Yeah, he does, and yeah, it was an inconsistent weekend, as it was for a few of them, and very often in F3 Cup we see domination, and you know, it's a championship that very often throws up all good weekends or all bad weekends, but we had a number of drivers over the weekend at Donington Park that had weekends of mixed fortunes. I wonder what this weekend is going to throw up. Already we've seen disappointment for Robbie Watts, we've seen disappointment for Stuart Wiltshire as well, and what of the car of Tony Bishop in car number 13, down in 8th position as the cars come across the line and complete 8 laps, and he drops down the order and down the order.
I was just wondering, has the transponder stopped working on that car, because he's still 2nd on the road. Through goes Darryl Jones.
And
there,
not being shown, yeah, the transponder has stopped, hasn't it?
Yeah, in fact, where is that Tony Bishop? No, that was car number 10 that just came through.
So dropped down the order,
yeah,
now
Bishop
showing 2 laps down.
Yeah, safety car's coming out, Tony Bishop, so he has indeed had the off somewhere. And there he is. Look, he's parked on the exit of Clearways. Yeah, the car's rotated through 180 degrees, and the tail end of it's parked in the gravel trap up there. We could just about spot it over the top of the transporters in the paddock. That's
well,
the
you
problem.
can, because you're taller than me, but I struggle a bit, but I can see it now. Yeah, it's facing the wrong way, so needs to be recovered. 2 wheels in the gravel over there at the exit of Clearways up towards Clark Curve. So safety car intervention for the first time in F3 Cup today. And Darryl Jones will now all of a sudden have eroded the advantage that he had over George Lyne of 5.3 seconds.
This really plays into the hands of Shane Kelly
Shane
as
Kelly,
well, doesn't it?
Really does, yeah.
Yeah, in 3rd position, who had to work his way up through the order following that poor start, which dropped him not into last position. He always just about got the car off the line so as to prevent dropping down to last place. But yeah, he's worked his way up through the order and had still got some work to do. He was, what, 7 seconds behind the race leader, but with the bunching of the pack, he's in prime position here to potentially push on for, well, certainly a podium, possibly a 2nd, could even be a win, couldn't it?
Perfectly poised, I would say, for this restart. It's going to be fun to watch as well, because Shane Kelly there, interesting to know what that problem was on the opening lap as well. Formula 3 cars notoriously difficult to get away from the line, but it would suggest to me from what you were saying, Mark, I couldn't see the start of the race, making my way up from the podium, but it sounded like he found the wrong gear or couldn't get it in the right gear, or...
I think it was the wrong gear, because all of a sudden as he got towards Paddock Hill Bend, the car sort of started to then pick up momentum a little bit. So yeah, I think it was a wrong gear that he dropped into. As you say, they are very, very difficult to get off the line, and they do run a carbon clutch as well, don't they, these cars?
Yep, they are notoriously, you know, as long as I remember watching F3 racing, the drivers always say how difficult they are to get started, and you know, it's not really even a question of having a knack to getting them started. They are just difficult. You either get it right or you get it horribly, horribly wrong. So at the moment we may well get the answer from Shane Kelly, because at the moment he's at very least in a podium position, so opportunity to have a chat to him when we get down to the podium. But Darryl Jones it is that leads. Safety car leads the field up towards the line. trying to keep that heat into the tyres. It's warmer down there now, but it's not a warm day. It's still ambiently reasonably chilly. You get a wrong idea of what the temperature is up here in the commentary box, because it's pretty warm. It's a glass-sided building, so therefore it does heat up when the sunshine comes out. But downstairs it's still ambiently pretty chilly, even though the sun is out, so keeping heat in the tyres is going to be absolutely critical.
Yeah, weaving from side to side. Of course, all of these cars run in Control Pirelli tyres, which are the approved manufacturer for this championship for this year. They all run Sunoco fuel as well, because this is another championship that is eligible for the Sunoco 200 Challenge, which potentially gives a driver an opportunity to win a fully funded drive in the BMW Performance 200 race, out supporting the Rolex 24 at Daytona in January. So some of the drivers will be not just keeping their eye on how they're getting on amongst the championship standings for F3 Cup, but they'll also be looking for this championship and other championships, which are all eligible for that prize drive out in Daytona, as to where they are within the overall standings, and potentially might they be heading over the pond in January to compete at Daytona. Well, Darrell Jones is at the front of the pack. The clock, of course, will continue to tick. This should be the last lap behind the safety car, because Tony Bishop's car has now been recovered from the point at which it came to rest. Safety car is in this lap, is the confirmation that we're getting on the timing screen. So for Darrell Jones, he will have to get on with it. 4 minutes of the race remain, which means by the time we've done another lap behind the safety car, we're going to be down to what, 3¼ minutes of racing, something like that?
It's not going to be much, and the car that we really need to watch is going to be Shane Kelly in 3rd place, making his way up the order as he has done. Did you describe that he was sort of almost back to the back of the field?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was only Jeffrey Hoodless in the march that didn't get past him when the lights went out.
Wow. Well, you can see the way he's jerking the car forward, trying to get as much heat into the tyres, that he's eager to get this race back underway. In fact, that was what he said to me when I spoke to him half an hour before the start of this race. I said, afternoon? And he said, afternoon? I said, yeah, but it wasn't a good morning, was it? And he said, no, it was all right, it was okay, we went too conservative. I just want to get out there and race now, which is exactly what he's sort of indicating that he wants to do now, with the BMW safety car peeling off into the pit lane. Watch the car in 3rd place, because he's carrying a good deal of momentum coming out of Clark Curve. The race is back underway.
Here we go, back towards green flag racing, and as they come over the start-finish line already, Shane Kelly is trying to attack the car of George Lyne, just again showing the nose of the car to the car ahead, but he's not able to do anything other than hang on to 3rd place. Further down through the order, it looks as though Daniel Tapino is under attack from the light blue car in the hands of Jacopo Sebastiani. Did Jacopo make it through? Indeed he did. So up to 5th position for Sebastiani, down to 6th now for Daniel Tapino, as the leaders sprint their way down the Cooper Straight. It's sort of 3 for the lead, isn't it? It's Jones from Lyne, from Kelly, then the gap before we see the all-red car of Mark Harrison. And as they now start to stretch their legs over the start-finish line, we've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the book. So the lap that they're about to start, and 2 more thereafter to try and sort out who is going to win round number 4 of the 2016 F3 Cup here at Brands.
He's got to be closer than that, has Shane Kelly, and he knows it as well. He's not got long to do it in. Just over 2 minutes, closes right up on the back of George Lyne as they make their way through Druids down towards Graham Hill. But George Lyne, he did so on the last lap, he's done so again, was able to pull away on the run down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend. They're on the Cooper Straight now. He's not close enough now, and Shane Kelly remains in 3rd place. Meanwhile, let's take nothing away from the race leader. Perfect restart for Darrell Jones, 14 laps in the book. That's about to become 15 as he comes up towards the line, crosses the line. Shane Kelly is not able to do this, is he? George Lyne driving exceptionally well in 2nd place, holding on to that 2nd place, and let's not forget that will be equaling his best results at Donington Park at the opening meeting as well. Finished 2nd in the 1st round of the championship did George, then had a 4th place and then a DNF for the final race of the weekend. Down they go, the Cooper Straight once again, and I reckon they're going to stay in that order, you know. They're not close enough to challenge.
The difficult thing is, as Bradley Ellis was saying earlier on, is that you don't have big, long braking areas at Brands Hatch. And, of course, Formula 3 car, very aerodynamic, which means as soon as Shane Kelly starts to close in on the number 10 car in the hands of George Lyne, that affects the airflow over his car and means that when he heads through the corners, of course, he's got less adhesion, so it becomes ever more difficult to drive it. We're side-by-side yet again on this lap for 4th place, as Mark Harrison tries to hold off the attentions and the aspirations of Jacopo Sebastiani. Sebastiani, who looks one way, looks the other, has to get nose to tail as they head up towards Druids Corner. And now Daniel Tapano is making it 3 cars fighting over 4th, 5th and 6th position. The clock has 30 seconds remaining on it, so there's one more lap to go after the one that they are currently on. And Darryl Jones is out front and is leading the race. He's only finished on the podium once so far this year. That was when he finished second in the second race at Donington Park. Well, he's now, Alan Hyde, a lap away from victory.
He is, and the good news for him is that because George is having to defend from Shane Kelly right there in 3rd place, who looks to close as they go around Paddock Hill Bend this time on the 2nd place car of George Lyne on the run up towards Druids. What can he do? Has a look down on the inside, and they avoid each other. That's good news. George Lyne will have the inside line as they go down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend, so it's still the same order, but Shane Kelly right on the tail of George Lyne. Good work by George Lyne. He's not going to be put off, is he? Absolutely super driving by that young man, and he holds on to 2nd place, but that's all good news for Darryl Jones because they're squabbling away behind him and allowing him to continue at the front of the field with an advantage of about a second.
Here they go, yep, checkered flag goes out, and it is Darryl Jones that claims the win. George Lyne finishes in 2nd place, and well, Shane Kelly threw everything at it, but ultimately he was just a little bit too late on the brakes on that final lap, heading in towards Graham Hill Bend. I'm sure he'll confirm that with Alan down on the podium, and once he'd brake that little bit too late at Graham Hill Bend, it just lost him. It was only half a car length, but it was always then going to be very, very difficult to try and attack again on that final few corners. Mark Harrison, number 6, comes through and finishes in 4th place, just 75 thousandths of a second up the road from Jacopo Sebastiani, who ultimately finishes in 5th position, with Daniel Tapano completing the top 6 at the wheel of car number 5. In 7th place was where we see car number 60, which is Malcolm Scott, and well, Jeffrey Hoodless is only now about to come through and take the checkered flag at the wheel of the oldest car that we've got in the field, the 1981 vintage Toyota engine March. Heads through now, also the only space-framed car, because all of the rest of them, of course, all the Dalaras are a carbon fibre tub. So George Hoodless, who also came out to play at Donington Park, will be thoroughly pleased and enjoyed with and delighted with what was another solid race for him. Not up to the pace of course, the far more modern machinery, but it's still a great addition to see out there, the beautiful looking March.
Here they are. Well done, guys. Thank you very much indeed for coming to join us. 2 of them have already appeared. 2 more we need in order to get our presentation underway, and as we've already said, Simon Nana-Pagrasen from MSVR will make the presentation. Welcome, gentlemen. Very good. James is here as well. Simon's already out there to make the presentation, so we'll start with our winner of the Masters class. Let's get on the podium, Jeffrey Hoodless. Well done, Jeffrey. Congratulations. You've got to be in it to win it. You may be the only one in the class, but you take the win in the class and climbs aboard the top step on the podium. Well done, Jeffrey. Thank you very much indeed. And now the Cup class, the overall top 3 in reverse order. 3rd place, Shane Kelly onto the podium. Well done, Shane. Congratulations. Makes his way up towards Simon on the podium to get the trophy and climbs aboard the 3rd step of the podium. 2nd place, welcome back to the podium, George Lyne. Well done, George. Congratulations to him. Makes his way onto step number 2. And the winner, well done, Darryl Jones. Congratulations, Darryl. Well done, makes his way onto the top step of the podium for the first time in the 2016 season, and he climbs aboard the top step. He's delighted with that, and so he should be. Well done, guys. Pose with your trophies for the cameras that are down there. I won't ask you to bunch up together on the top step of the podium because there are too many of you to do that. But what I will do is ask you please to step down, and I'll have a quick word with you. Darryl, it's been a good day, and that's the perfect end to the day as well.
Yeah, I've got a good start.
Which is vital in these cars, isn't it?
It definitely, yeah, because it's difficult to sort of follow and pass. Got about 3 or 4 second lead to Tony Bishop. It was sort of nip and tuck between us, really. And then I saw he fell off. And then obviously safety car, which I didn't know if it's a good or a bad thing, because I was a bit worn out.
I think the gentleman to your left thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, but, you know, these are hard work to drive these cars. But you know, I had a gap, but it went, so, you know, I just managed to keep the gap at the end to George.
I think it was good news that those 2 were busy squabbling away.
Yeah, having a bit of a tussle, so it sort of helped me out a bit.
It rather did. Well done, Darryl. Congratulations. George, good to have you back on the podium. Yeah, you were too busy with Shane after the restart, weren't you?
Yes, definitely. We started 6th, so the car was good at the start, but then we just faded slightly towards the end, so it's more just Colossae to 2nd with from Shane.
He was putting you under a lot of pressure, and you didn't buckle, did you?
Well, it's very difficult in this circuit, but enjoyed it very much.
Top man, George, good to have you back on the podium. Well, Shane, what was the story about the start then?
Well, initially, I think I made a good one, and maybe a clutch slip or something like that. So I think initially we got all right, but hung back a bit. I think we were last. So.
Yeah, you were. So to get back up to third place and then get a safety car was a bit of a gift, but he's going to be a tough nut to crack, isn't he?
Well, yeah, we've got to try harder. But yeah, I think it's fine. Again, we got good points, so third, happy with third. So again, from last, it's not bad. We work on the car a bit better. I think we can get a better car to challenge for next time.
Yeah, mate, thank you very much indeed. And Jeffrey, you've got to be in it to win it. Your car is absolutely beautiful. How was it?
Oh, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you. The car's handling a lot better than it used to because we've managed to do a few tweaks on it. And hopefully we'll get it going even quicker. Unfortunately, not quite as quick as these guys, but no.
You just look after it, Jeffrey, if you don't mind. Thank you very much indeed. Well done, guys. Thank you very much indeed. Well done to all three of the overall top three and to Jeffrey Hoodless as well. So well done to our winner, Darryl Jones, George Lyon in second place and Shane Kelly in third. That's our podium for F3 Cup.